Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. Joining us today is attorney and candidate for Sparks Municipal Court Judge, Department 2, Jesse Kalter. Next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Find your pot of gold at Carson Valley Inn during the Leprechaun Loop Progressive giveaways. Jackpot progresses $2,500 each drawing night up to $20,000. And $10,000 in grand prize giveaways guaranteed Saturday, March 30th. Get your share of Leprechaun loot at the Carson Valley Inn.
Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. It's a 50,000 square foot chick magnet. March is chick season at Big R. All locations. Cute, adorable, and save 10% on all chick feed and supplies. Bring the kids. Chick season at Big R. Hardware, chicks, and a whole lot more.
Story County is leading Nevada. Home of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Google, Tesla, Panasonic, and other world-leading companies. Story County provides thousands of tech, advanced manufacturing, and logistics careers for Nevadans. We're diversifying and driving Nevada's economy and generating millions in tax revenue and billions in economic activity across northern Nevada. Story County is leading Nevada's future.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. With us today is Jesse Kalter, who's a candidate for Sparks Municipal Court Judge, Department 2. Thank you for joining us, Jesse.
Thank you for having me, Orrin.
So, obviously you're an attorney in town and you're running for judge. A lot of people don't really know judicial candidates. They get the bottom of a ballot and start guessing if they don't have lawyer friends to call up. So tell us about yourself. Give us a bio. Where'd you come from? What do you do? Tell us about your law practice, all that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Well, I grew up in Massachusetts, and right after college, I actually got a job in Reno selling casino uniforms and loaded up my Honda Accord and drove all the way out here, and unfortunately was only here a few months before 9/11 hit, and I was laid off. But the beauty was I fell in love with Reno and ended up going back east for law school and coming back out permanently 2005 and 2006 hung my first shingle, Jesse Kalter Law.
And so tell us about that. So you came back out here, you graduated from law school. Most people work for the government for a while. That's what I did. They do something else. So tell us about sort of your early law practice. How'd you get your start?
Sure. So I actually took over a practice in Lyon County for a guy that was appointed to the bench, and he had a public defender contract in Lyon County. So right out of the chute, I had inherited basically a general practice, family law, estate planning, criminal defense, and a Lyon County public defender contract. So I was thrown right into the middle of it in my first jury trial within a few months, and he and I ended up partnering for a few years before we separated, and I went into private practice for myself.
So when you were doing those early days, were you, I actually didn't realize this, were you doing all the family stuff and all the estate planning and all the just general stuff a lawyer does in a small town?
Yes, and I can remember my last family law case and how happy I was never to have to do one again. But yeah, no, I was doing all of that, personal injury, and eventually the criminal defense practice picked up to a point where I could just focus on that.
Is that something that you came to enjoy, or is that something that you wanted to do when you were in law school?
No, I think I kind of found it. It found me, and I love, like you, we love being in court, and it's one of the areas of law that you're in court constantly, and in jury trials, and so I kind of fell in love with the criminal defense area of law over other types.
No, fair enough. And you've never prosecuted cases or anything else like that?
I have not. No.
Okay. So tell us now you have a successful practice, you've been doing it for a long time, you're good at it. When I was a prosecutor in Lyon County, we had cases together.
We sure did, didn't we?
And it was always a pleasure. But now, with the successful practice, why is it that you want to put that shingle back away and run for judge?
So I've been doing this now for almost 20 years, and I feel like I've gained a wealth of knowledge from just all the experience in the courtroom, dealing with people, dealing with prosecutors, many of which I've become very close friends with. And I feel like I want to give back to my community, and so where I think I would be best at that is applying my experience over these last 2 decades in a courtroom, to the bench, and that's really how I found this path.
So let me ask you, why Sparks Municipal Court? Now you've done major felonies, from murders, sex assaults, all that stuff, all the way down to small misdemeanors. Like myself in private practice, kind of do it all. Sparks Municipal Court is a smaller court, doesn't deal with sort of the big stuff. Is there something attractive to you about that, or is that what is it about municipal court that made you want to run for judge there? So
I practice in courts all over northern Nevada, but I'm in Sparks Municipal Court once, twice a week, and I have been for well over 10 years, and people's cases matter, whether it doesn't necessarily have to be a serious felony, but even misdemeanor cases, people facing that this is the biggest thing happening in their life, and or victims on the other side of it. Even if you're a victim of a misdemeanor, it's a major deal. I love the staff there, the marshals, and so I really like the city attorney prosecutors that I work with there. So it's a welcoming court. It's a court that I think I can bring some expertise to.
All right. Well, and we'll talk about Sparks Municipal Court a little bit more when we come back.
We're at Tamarack Casino at Nevada Steak with Chef Mike Mahoney. You have fabulous food here. This halibut is extraordinary.
The halibut was awesome. It was fun to cook. You get a nice sear on top, and then we base that with a little bit of butter and garlic and herbs and stuff. It's fabulous.
It's a lot of butter.
And
it looks really good, and it tastes even better. I'm trying this, which is the crab cake. You've got this crispy coating on the outside. What is that?
Actually, that's cornflakes.
Huh?
Cornflakes.
Really?
Yes, sir. The crispiness of the cornflake just adds more crispiness to the already, crispy crab cake. It's awesome.
It's my favorite, and I'm a crab cake fanatic. Okay, this I just tried for the first time. It's ahi tuna in a whole different way.
Ahi tuna, it's a tuna tartare. It's ground up. We mix it with a little bit of spicy mayo, a little avocado puree, and our house-made ponzu sauce in there as well.
It tastes to me like sushi without the rice. It's got all the flavorings, but it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, ribeye steak.
Ribeye steak, classic. Harris Ranch, certified Angus beef. You can't go wrong with a good steak here.
No, and that ribeye is particularly good. Again, we tried that earlier. It is fabulous.
Yeah.
The wedge salad. I love a wedge salad that comes with a giant hunk of bacon on it. So you've got healthy and you've got bacon.
A little bit of indulgence. Yeah, a little indulge. What's great about this one is the bacon is cooked fresh to order for every single salad, so it's nice and hot.
Folks, you've got to come to Tamarack, the casino in South Reno. It is a fabulous place to begin with. It's made even more fabulous by Nevada Steak and your great food. Thank you for inviting us, and we will be coming back over and over because I'm in love with this tuna, I'm in love with the crab cake, well, the ribeyes, well, the halibut. It's all good, folks.
Just about everything.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. And if you're just joining us, today we have Jesse Kalter, who's a local attorney and a candidate for Sparks Municipal Court Judge, Department 2. So tell us a little bit about Sparks Municipal Court. Most people, I think, don't have a good understanding of the different types of courts in our community. Court is court to them. And so tell us about Sparks Municipal Court. What does it do? What sets it apart from some other courts people think of?
Yeah, thank you. Well, Sparks Municipal Court handles only traffic citations and misdemeanors that happen within the city of Sparks. So unlike some of your justice courts around here, Reno Justice Court, Sparks Justice Court, which take on gross misdemeanors, felonies, and of course misdemeanors, Sparks only addresses misdemeanors and citations. So that's really what sets it apart. But it's a local court where the people of Sparks or people going through Sparks would find themselves in if they went sideways with the law, I guess you could say.
So when you're talking about misdemeanors, what types of cases are you dealing with, seeing most of the time? What does that mean? You were talking about DUIs, obviously. We're not talking about anybody stabbing each other usually.
Right. So a misdemeanor is any crime in Nevada that has a max sentence of 6 months in jail and or $1,000 fine. And most of them are usually DUIs. There are domestic batteries, certainly thefts of businesses, depending on the value of what's stolen could be a misdemeanor. So that would be your primary types of misdemeanors, maybe some minor drug offenses too.
Got it. Now, a few years ago, the Supreme Court said that even a misdemeanor for domestic battery, you're entitled to a jury trial because the consequences are significant, especially with your gun rights and that sort of thing. Has Sparks Municipal Court done a jury trial that you're aware of?
Yes, so to my knowledge, they have done one.
Okay.
Initially, when that law changed, some of the municipal courts, depending on their charter, were kicking those to the justice courts. But now Sparks Municipal Court is offering jury trials, which would be a jury of 6 people to anyone that's been charged with a domestic battery. And so as opposed to a judge deciding whether someone was guilty, a jury of 6 would have to unanimously decide.
So would you like to see more jury trials? And I feel like we're just not seeing a lot of misdemeanor jury trials. I've not had an opportunity.
Well, I've personally tried two domestic misdemeanor trials by jury. And yeah, I would like to see more. That gives our community a say. It holds the prosecutors to, I think, a higher standard because 6 people have to unanimously find someone guilty for there to be a guilty verdict. So as someone that's tried many cases, as you have, I'd like to see more jury trials.
So what you're saying to the voters is that you're promising them they're going to get called more often for jury duty? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So obviously you're dealing with DUIs, drug paraphernalia stuff, sort of the smaller stuff. Nevertheless, the smaller stuff can be indicative of bigger problems. And many courts have some sort of specialty court programs try to focus on rehabilitation, not just punishment. Does Sparks Municipal Court have those types of programs?
Not as much as I'd like to see. So because it's a smaller court, because it has a smaller budget, it doesn't have, say, a veterans court or other courts that Reno Municipal Court or Sparks Justice or Reno Justice Court has. It does have some things, but one of the things I'd like to see is to get more specialty courts, or if the resources aren't there for Sparks Municipal, to be able to transfer jurisdiction. Say a veteran gets in trouble in Sparks Municipal Court. I'm a huge fan of Judge O'Neill's Camo Court. I'd like to be able to, and I know she would accept, transfers into their programs. So if Sparks Municipal can't offer it, we can find ways to get people into these programs.
So what is Sparks Municipal Court currently offering? I truly don't know. I weirdly don't have a ton of cases in Sparks Municipal Court. And explain a little bit what we mean when we're talking about specialty courts for people who are struggling with addiction.
Sure. So specialty court is a court where oftentimes the person pleads guilty. They have a drug problem, they have a mental health problem, and instead of just sentencing them like anybody else, they get put in a program that's monitored by the court, by the judge, where they get the services and help they need, whether for drug addiction, mental health issues, combat-related mental health issues. And if they successfully complete the program, which is so just so people know, it's much harder oftentimes to put yourself through that program than to go on regular probation or sleep in jail. Then depending on how the program's structured, they may be able to have their case dismissed, sometimes sealed. So yeah, Sparks Municipal Court does not have a lot of programs like that, but I would like to see them either get that or partner with the bigger courts in town.
All right. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that, judicial philosophy, and things like that when we return.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you. But we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. And if you're just joining us, with us today is local attorney and candidate for Sparks Municipal Court Judge, Department 2, Jesse Kalter. So let's talk about judicial philosophy. And that sounds very, kind of upper level for a municipal court, but nevertheless, how judges think about things is important. You've been a criminal defense attorney, you've not been a prosecutor, and as a judge, now you're sitting in the middle and having to balance these different things. So tell us, what's sort of your approach? Obviously, community safety is important, the rights of defendants are important. How do you weigh all that stuff? Give us a glimpse into your thought processes.
Sure. So Absolutely. Judge's number one priority is safety of the community. But again, we're dealing with Sparks Municipal Court, which is not going to be handling murder cases, armed robbery cases. Yet, it does handle some cases where people could pose as a threat, whether it's a domestic battery situation, someone that's consistently drinking and driving, putting the community at risk. But I like to see common sense applied in the courtroom. And what I mean by common sense is every case that comes in, you hear from the defense, you hear from the prosecution, you hear from the defendant, the victim, and taking a common sense approach as to how you're going to rule. Of course, that also means adhering to the law, the Constitution, and you know, how it's written is how it should be applied in my view.
So one of the things, obviously, that we're dealing with in sort of the politics, I'm not asking political questions, but the winds blow back and forth. We want to get super tough on crime, maybe we get a little overboard with that, and then we want to ease off on that, maybe we get a little overboard, and we have even San Francisco trying to be tougher on crime these days and all that sort of thing. Sparks, I think the city attorney's office has been sort of on social media trying to be a little bit more aggressive with those types of things. And obviously with the smaller stuff, what we learned in New York City in the Giuliani years is that, you know, taking care of the little stuff, the broken windows, that can actually pay some dividends down the road. How do you balance, we talked about the specialty court stuff and taking care of people with addictions and all that sort of thing. Is there, you know, where do we sort of know which way to go, either just to really hammer on people or sort of give them, you know, how many breaks before it comes time to do that?
Well, my philosophy is to look at every case individually, Orrin, and to weigh the different arguments as to whether this person just needs punishment or whether this person could really benefit and the community overall benefit from working with this person to try and get them help. I will look at each case individually, and I will hear from both sides, and I will weigh both sides in my decision making. Certainly if it's someone that has a criminal history that indicates that they're going to repeat the behavior, that's something I'll take very seriously. But if it's somebody that's never been in trouble with the law and simply went out with their spouse to dinner and had maybe 1 too many glasses of wine and you know, gets pulled over for going 5 over the speed limit, they don't need to go to jail for 6 months. So I will look at each case individually and make my decision based on that person when I'm weighing out the different factors.
No, fair enough. So last thing I want to talk to you about is something that's sort of personal irritation to me, and that's traffic tickets. Not that I get a lot of traffic tickets, I don't.
It's not what I heard.
Yeah,
okay.
Fair enough. Well, I won't get them in Sparks now. But the bottom line is that the legislature changed the law and made it used to be speeding tickets for misdemeanors and all that stuff. Then they changed them to civil. The statute as it was written is broad. I think it's sort of opaque and it's not very well put together. And so every court in Northern Nevada is learning how to deal with traffic tickets in unique ways. In many cases, prosecutors are choosing not to participate. And so you have police officers showing up. Essentially, judges almost have to be the prosecutor, call witnesses to some degree. I have real constitutional issues with that. I have some procedural problems with that. Have you seen that in your practice? And obviously traffic tickets are where a lot of just regular civilians interact with police, sometimes in negative ways, and in courts, sometimes in negative ways. How are you going to make dealing with traffic tickets something that's fair, that's constitutional, that's in accordance with the statute? What's going to be your approach to that?
So yeah, this was a big change. I think the intent was good, that traffic tickets aren't deemed misdemeanors and are simply civil infractions. One of the things I take issue with is in order to contest a traffic ticket now, you have to pay the bail amount to the court in order to get a hearing in front of a judge.
So you got to pay the fine in advance.
Yeah, and that to me is wrong. That's the due process issues with that I don't like. I think if you take issue with the ticket or believe you've been treated unfairly, you should be able to get a hearing in front of a judge without having to pay the full bail amount. Now, in cases like that, the way the courts are doing it, if the ticket's dismissed, the person gets the money back, or if it's reduced, they get a portion of the money back. But I think there's something fundamentally unfair with forcing people to have to pay the citation in order to get a hearing.
So how do you deal with that? That part's in statute. Obviously, the police officers don't even have to show up. They can. They're allowed by law to submit an affidavit that's sworn. And it's a civil case, so you don't have the same Sixth Amendment confrontation rights to cross-examine witnesses against you, although you can always subpoena those folks to come in. For a traffic ticket, that starts to get pretty complex. How do you, especially for people who aren't represented by attorneys, with traffic tickets, which may seem minor, what steps are you going to take to try to improve this sort of civil liberty aspect of that?
So, I want to hear from the person. I want to hear what they say their version of the events are. And certainly, if this person doesn't have a lengthy driving record with a ton of infractions, I mean, a lot of times what the people most care about is that the points don't go to the DMV. So the fine to the court's great.
That's fair enough. All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Jesse, and we'll be right back.
7 at 7 is a newscast built for your smartphone. It's a 7-minute newscast available every weekday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. at lvrj.com. We don't waste your time, and we give you the day's top stories.
We at the RJ have noticed some similarities between us and a certain BTS character, RJ.
Plus the latest in Las Vegas business, weather, health, and entertainment news. 7 at 7 streaming now on your smartphone.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us. This has been Orrin Johnson, filling in for Sam Shad. You can join us 24/7 at NevadaNewsmakers.com.